Shalom again. Shalom, my friend, Ovation community. Dear Ovation community, how are you? Good to be with you again from Israel and where I am today. Well, today, you're going to recognize it. You know what? You're going to tell me if you can recognize where I am. So we're going to go a little bit up, 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 and we're going to see where we are. Yes, in the middle of Tel Aviv. Right here, this is the Azrieli buildings, but this is the beginning of our tour. But the tour today is going to be a very unique place in Tel Aviv that was founded, can you believe that, in 1871. The Templars, the German Templars, built this neighborhood, and we're gonna see how they preserved this neighborhood and what it is today, and how it changed throughout those years. But let me start a little bit with update about what we had here in the last week. We had the drone operation, approximately 1,000 rockets from Gaza. Raindrop on Israel, different places, even here in Tel Aviv, they launch. So can you imagine, like 2 days ago, the siren went off, people were running to shelters, but the Iron Dome intercept the missiles. And today I'm going to turn my camera and you're going to see life back to normal. People are walking around, having fun, eating ice creams, going to the shopping malls. So you see that Israel is definitely totally went back to normal. What I can tell you about the drone operation that we just had. Oh, this is interesting. 2 miles from here, south from here in Jaffa, where you have an Arab population. So imagine that. While we have the sirens and the rockets, and the Jihad Islamic launched the rockets towards Tel Aviv, trying to hit those sky-high buildings that you can see, those ones, and those ones here, and those ones. So in Jaffa, imagine that. Arabs, while the siren is going off, clapping hands, celebrating the launch from Gaza with Palestinian flags, having this all riots against the government, against Israel, cursing the Israeli soldiers. So this is how complicated life is in Israel. So here I am in Tel Aviv, but not more than 1.5 miles from here, south from here in Jaffa. That was the situation while we had this drone operation. It was a very successful operation, I must say. The IDF destroyed the leadership of the Jihad Islamic organization in Gaza. 0 casualties, thanks to, of course, the Iron Dome, who protect our people, who protect, as I said, approximately 1,000 rockets that they sent from Gaza. And not only that, the casualties, not the terrorists, the civilians in Gaza, the civilian casualties in Gaza, I don't know if you heard that, they were hit by the rockets that the Jihad Islamic sent. So some of the rockets fell on Gaza's neighborhoods, for example, Jabalia. And they murdered few kids, few citizens. It's very tragic, very, very tragic. But some of the rockets fell on their heads while they were trying to launch those rockets upon Israel. So not only they are threatening and killing and trying to kill civilians in Israel, they actually kill their own civilians, poor people in Gaza that are really suffering from having those 2 organizations, the Hamas and the Jihad Islamic, controlling life in Gaza, launching rockets towards Israel. So I'm telling you this whole thing because I thought maybe it would be interesting for you to know a little bit, not from the TV, but from someone who went actually to the shelter because they launched towards Modi'in as well. But everything's all right. The interception of the Iron Dome was almost 100%, almost, and it's getting better. Every operation, they're moving from 75 to 85, now above 95% of interception of missiles, and this is why in the Israeli side we had 0 casualties. So you see, I'm not too far away from the center of Tel Aviv, from the Israeli buildings, and now I'm moving towards the Templars. The Templars neighborhood, the Germans, Christians or Germans, Protestants, not Catholics, Protestants, Germans, who came here in 1871. And they wanted to establish a community. They believe strongly that if the European, and in particular the Germans, will come over, they believe that this is the redemption. This is going to help Jesus to come back with a very strong Christian belief that they need to work the Holy Land, that they need to help the citizens here in the land of Israel to have better wine and better cheese and better agriculture. And in this unique tour of today, we're going to see how they preserve the buildings, the story of the buildings, and we're going to get into details when I'll be able to cross the street. It will take a few more minutes, but until then, until I get to Sarona, to the Templars. Today, the name of it is Sarona Market. It's really in the center of Tel Aviv. And you're going to see in about 5 minutes or so, those very particular, very unique houses that didn't change much since they preserved the buildings much since 50 years ago. So I will cross the street right here, and I will move forward towards Sarona. It's really, without the traffic lights, and I'm going to share with you, it's really not more than 5 minutes walk from here to here, because the Templar neighborhood is right behind this building. So what can I tell you about the Templars? Well, the Templars came here, and as I said, they wanted to improve life in the land of Israel. They believe that this is how the land of Israel would be able to survive, would be able to provide food and Okay, so as I'm moving along, you can see here a little demonstration of people that oppose the IDF operation in Gaza. They think that the Israeli government should not go to this operation from some reason that I really don't understand what the IDF is supposed to do when actually we have terror organizations trying to kill us, trying to get rid of us, especially after the disengagement from Gaza in 2005. So actually, yesterday was Yud B'Av. Yud B'Av is the date of the deportation of the Jews from Gush Katif. Dramatic. It was dramatic because a lot of Israelis opposed this deportation, and we strongly believe that if we're gonna get out from there, we're gonna get missiles on our heads. And guess what? This is exactly what happened. So we ran away from stones, from Molotov cocktail, from knives, and 70 years later, we have approximately 1,000 rockets in 3 days of operation. So the problem with terror is that if you run away from terror, terror will run away after you. This is one of the problems. So from the actual situation, we will continue our tour in the Templars, and we are right here. So I'm gonna turn my camera and I'm gonna share with you the entrance of this very lovely neighborhood. And okay, so there were Germans. They came over in 1871. They started to flourish the land. They did agriculture and milk and provide basic needs of the citizens here of the land of Israel. And then there was the first strike, I will call it, like a big strike, was World War One. And why World War One was a big strike? Because they, of course, joined the Germans. So in the end of the war, they were treated like traitors because the British came over. The British conquered Israel. The Ottoman Empire was over. And while Allenby is getting into Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and the British and the mented British started, the British didn't want them here because of the war, because they were in the other side of the Great War of World War I. So this is when a community, out of a community of approximately 400 people, really few stayed here. Most of the British deported them out from the land of Israel. And that was the first strike of this neighborhood, of this community of the Templars. By the way, not only in Tel Aviv, but in different places in Israel as well. You have Templars in Haifa. So I want to share with you how it looks like.
Where did the British deport them to?
Cyprus, Egypt, Turkey, different places. The British didn't want them here because, you know, it was after the war and there was a lot of bad blood between the two sides. And the British didn't want them here. So during the 20s and the 30s, slowly, the peace agreement, so the British accepted them again. So they came back, few hundreds came back. I'm going to show you another building here. Then we'll get into the stories of the building. Not yet, very soon, because now I'm talking generally about the Templars and about what happened to them. But and then during the 30s, guess what? They joined the Nazi party. So imagine that while they're trying to rebuild their community, the Templars here in Tel Aviv, while they're trying to rebuild their community, the 20s and the 30s, like 20 years, they joined the Nazi party. By the way, they didn't have any choice. They were Germans, and it was like an obligation. So guess what? Again, the British during the 30s and the 40s, during World War II, again they deported them, and they sent them away from Israel because they saw them as Nazis in favor of the Nazi regime, and for the British mandate here in Israel, in the land of Israel, was really impossible. So again, that was strike two. The Templars needed to leave the neighborhood, to leave the land of Israel, and then when the establishment of the state, the re-establishment of the state of Israel in 1948, well, that was it. Israel took over. Ben Gurion decided that this whole neighborhood that you see around me will be the headquarters of the Israeli government, because not too far away from here, we have the military headquarters. So he wanted the civil headquarters. All the different ministries of Israel will be right here next to, because he was the Secretary of Defense and the Prime Minister. So we wanted this whole region to be the national administration quarter. So that was in the 40s and the 50s. And today, as you can see, a wonderful, quiet neighborhood, peaceful neighborhood with a lot of gardens and beautiful a little kind of European architectural buildings. And now let's drill in a little bit, and let's see some of the stories of the buildings. I think we can find it interesting. So this one that today is a diesel shop. They sell clothing, jeans, bags. So let's see, during the Templars, you have here the little history of the building. So this building, and I will try to read the headlines of the Templar community. Karl Kubel was one of the founders of the Sarona. Okay, so this is the name of the German guy who established Sarona. After the founding of the state, the Central Bureau of Statistics was located in the building, followed by the Transportation Union of the Ministry of Defense. So this is exactly what I told you, that this building became a part of the new rebuilt government of Israel. Let's try to find another building. So as you can see, we have those little stories on each and every building, which I find it really interesting to see what was those buildings before we turned this place into a very vibrant. So for example, this building turns to be a Levi's store. Let's move here, and let's try to see another story while we are walking around the neighborhood. So this house was built by Adolf and Karl Fuscher, owners of the biggest dairy, as I told you in the beginning, an orchid in Sarona. As I told you, they were trying to provide food, dairy, and all the needs for the citizens here. After independence, the structures housed the Commissioner of all Transportation of Ministry of Transportation. Okay. And later the unit charged with Communication, Soldier and Defense Export, Cooperation Defense, Ministry of Defense, IDF, Military Advocates. So as you can see, the Germans really helped the Israeli government to establish their first administration offices. So this is how it looked like. This is the map. Okay, this is the map. Those buildings here are right here. I hope you can see them beyond the trees. And we are right here. We are right here. So we're gonna move a little bit further in, and we're gonna see some more stories of the different buildings. And until I get there, Dania, if you have any questions, that would be a good time to ask me.
No, but you explained, first of all, you explained very well the context of what happened in the last number of days, what was going on with all the shelling. So I appreciate you doing that, because not everybody understands what the historical context is, what the current political climate is. So I appreciate you sharing that. All right, now you're back at the new location.
Yeah, I'm back in it. Okay, so I'm gonna move a little bit backwards. We're gonna have like a better look of the building. So this is another building. So what is the story of this building? Christian Friedrich Lammel was one of the Templar community leaders in Sarona and one of the pioneers of the wine. Oh, can you believe this? The wine, they did wine here as well. In the colony, there was a honey production, honey and wine in his house. Very nice. His family members were also milk producers and sold vegetables to the residents of Sarona, Jaffa, and Tel Aviv. Later, the structure houses unit of the Air Force and departments, the Ministry of Defense. So before I move on, I would like to share with you a little story. It's kind of funny because you see here a little man here, right here. So the story is that when the man was in the house, so this little guy here was up here. And when the man, went to hunt or went to the army or went whatever, was not in the house, So the lady took down this little guy here, down here. So everybody knows that she's alone and she can go for a cup of coffee or something. It's kind of cute. And this is the little story of this. Okay, so I believe that there is somebody here now. So I will make it, put it on the right position so we won't have any situations. Okay, anyway, I will move forward. And as I move forward, I will try to share with you maybe one more or two more stories. Let's pick this one while you enjoy this beautiful, quiet, peaceful neighborhood. So imagine 2 days ago, interception, the Iron Dome intercept, actually really above us. You could have seen the interception really above us. This is what we saw on the news. And the Jihad Islamic basically wanted to have a dramatic mega terror regarding your question, Tanya. The Jihad Islamic, not the Hamas, wanted to have, and we had intelligence that Taisir Jabal, the two leaders of the North General of the and the South, both of them, they plan to have a major terror attacks against civilians in Israel. And we had very clear intelligence about it. So what the IDF is, the Air Force and the IDF and the Shabak and everybody, we located those leaders and we shut them down. We shut them down because we knew that they planned something terrible. So the Air Force found him, located him. We knew exactly what apartment. I don't know if you saw the footage. It's incredible. You see like a 20 building, floor building, and you can see the missile precisely. I think it was floor number 6 or number 8. And you see only this apartment getting hit and all the rest of the building without any damages. This is incredible abilities and capabilities of the Israeli Air Force. And I salute them for that because it's quite amazing. And this is how it all retaliated and all started and started to launch. And we defended ourselves and attacked some ammunition storage and some other high-ranked generals of the Jihad Islamic. But after 3 days, as you can see, I can do my video tour for you here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, first, a general look on the building. We're in David El-Azhar 16. So you can see this kind of European kind of building. So we are in David El-Azhar 16. David El-Azhar, the chief of staff, became chief of staff in the 6-day war. He was the general of the North, Aluf Pikud Tzafon, what we said, the commander of the North, and then in 73 was chief of staff. Anyway, so let's see what is the story of this building. So the house was built at the beginning of the 20th century by the family of the Johann Ottmar, starting in the 20s, Ellen and Horst Cooper and owned a printing shop. It was a printing shop that operated in the winery, lived here until 2005. The coordination and maintenance unit of the IDF General Staff Camp was housed here. How lovely. Okay, so one more. Why? Because there's so many. I don't know which one I should pick. There are so many. We have this one here, and we have, you know what? We'll go to the ice cream place. Maybe I'll get an ice cream when I get back. But this is now an ice cream place. Can you believe this? Actually, it's a very good ice cream, and I really recommend it. It's the Golda Anita ice cream. So now it's an ice cream. I can show you. You see? Beautiful, beautiful. And you can see here the sign, 1879. This is where this building was established, and now it's a gelato place. Okay, so that would be the last building that I would like to share with you the story of the building. So this was the home of Johannes Gorg Lamle. Lamle was a grand and landscape designer in Sarona. Oh, okay. And the founder of the colony. After the establishment of the State of Israel, the Ministry of Welfare was housed here. In the 1960s, the Army magazine, Machane Nachal, operated in this house, and in this room was utilized by the Prime Minister's office. So as I told you, how this building shift from a German house to a יש מעבר מפה? יש לי יציאה? No? Trying to find my way out from the ice cream shop. So you can see the story of the buildings, how it all changed and how it transformed. Oh, where I'm now? Oh, I'm in the backyard now. Okay, so I have to go through here. And then David Ben-Gurion, who was a very smart, clever man, he said, you know what, I'm going to use. We don't have any Germans anymore here, of course, after World War II. Of course, no German could stay here, especially after what happened in World War II. So, where I am, I need to go this way. This way is blocked from some reason. You know what? I'll go this way. Because, and the last thing I want to share with you, so while I'm attending to the last thing I would like to share with you about what Sarona is all about today. If you have any questions, Tanya, that would be a good time while I'm walking around and sharing with you this beautiful neighborhood of Sarona. Oh, here we have.
No, keep on going because it's really pretty.
Okay.
Super pretty.
Rav Aluf, Major General. Okay, so now, today, and you're going to see it very shortly. Today, Sarona Market became the culinary highlight show of Tel Aviv. Okay, food. And what's so special about it is that in not more than 2 minutes when I'll get there, oh, here you have already, well, I'm going to show you. Here you have already like a taste about what you're going to see very soon. Okay, so this is today Sarona. This is in the evening. Okay, this is like pictures from Sarona. But while I'm moving ahead, Sarona Market, and you can see the sign here. See, Sarona Market. I'm going to share with you the sign. See, Sarona Market. And what is so special about this market? What they decided to do here, they decided to bring to this location different food from different places. So what is so special about it? I hope I can get over the music. So for example, this place, Misiaki, is Japanese food. Okay, so here Japanese, and here you have all kind of halvas, and here you have another kind of a different food. If you have pita pasta, you have some meat, different kind of meats, kosher meat. So from Japan, we're gonna move to Italian American. Can you believe this? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see. Okay, Italian American, Rocco's sandwich shop, and you have here different cheese and different wines, and here you have pasta bar, Fiori pasta bar. So you see, it's very diverse. You really can find anything you would like to eat here. Here they have a fish hut. So here they are doing all kind of fish, kind of sushi. And as I move forward, You have cookies, the FT cookies. So as you can see, people are coming here, having the lunch, having the dinner, and it's a very, very popular place in Israel. Mainly because, as I said, you have so many diverse dishes. Here you have meat, here you have fish, seafood, cheese. So you see, it's really like the indoor, which is it's pretty nice because it's all air conditioned. Uh, and people in Israel in August, believe me, prefer to be in air conditioned places. So I believe this is aloha. So I believe this is Hawaiian. Oh, here you go. Hawaiian kitchen. There you go. So we had Italian, we had Chinese, we had Japanese, la fromagerie. Ah, so I believe this is French. La fromagerie, which means the place of the cheese place. I believe you have some pretty good cheese in there. As I move forward, you can, I believe, I hope you can have like a general idea about the really nice, cool atmosphere in this Sarona market, who started in 1871 as a Christian Protestant community who came here to help the citizens of the land of Israel. And now look at this. Now here you have a salad bar. So if you like salad, you can go to Mixi. So anyway, it goes on and on, but I believe you got the general idea of what Sarona turned to be after 150 years. And it's a really very popular, and I invite you to come here. You'll have a very nice lunch or dinner or breakfast or whatever you would like to have. And this is it for now. This is it for now. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And for me, it was, as always, great honor, great privilege to share with you a little bit from Israel sightseeing. And I wish you all good health, happiness, and a lot of joy. So I see you soon again from
Thank you
who
so
knows.
much for doing this.
You're very welcome, my dear friends. Love you. Take care. Bye-bye.